How long has it been since an in-depth RWBY score analysis? After my months of silence and my graduation, I'm bringing you some new Volume 7 music theory. Do you guys have any idea how many themes Cinder has? Her first one comes from the Torchwick era, which is kind of nice because that violin kind of reminds me of him. Sacrifice begins ambiguously representing Cinder during Volume 5, which is the volume that introduces a brand new theme for her, which we unofficially call the Grimarm theme.
I'm sure that the first time we've heard this was during Volume 5, Chapter 12, when Cinder reveals that she has a grim arm. If we take a look at the melody, or listen to the melody, it sounds a lot like the one from Lucis Naturae. Not only does Cinder have a ton of themes, but her arm also has its own individual theme.
In Volume 6 we get extracts from All Things Must Die implemented into the score. Specifically, it's the cellos from the orchestral introduction. Here's a link to an in-depth analysis of that score. Cinder's new partner in crime, on the other hand, Neo, has only ever had a triplet-based pirate leitmotif, until the Volume 6 soundtrack blessed us with Jeff's. Perfect! Now that these characters are very musically identifiable, we can score them by mixing their themes together. Intertwining things are done amazingly in Volume 7. A good example is the quarrel between Clover and Robin in Chapter 5, here's a link of mine, or any of the Tyrion fights.
Seems like more than just a
Atlas
checkup.
You've been scoping it out.
We can't fix the wall without the supplies on these trucks. I think Mantle deserves to know what they're being used for. It doesn't have to be difficult, just
Yeah, this is Mantle theme, for
tell
sure.
me.
The tricky thing with the Spice Cream duo is that with just two characters, there's a ton of leitmotifs involved. I just mentioned 4 for Cinder and 2 for Neo. Which ones should we match up? I suggested a match in a previous video between Neo's triplet theme and Cinder's All Things Must Die bass lines. The fact of the matter is that the keys of these leitmotifs have the same starting notes, granting a seamless transition from one to the other. Neo has multiple leitmotifs, Cinder has multiple leitmotifs, but 2 of them share something. This can represent both Neo and Cinder. Now is my chance to express my love for these intervals, the first, the flat second, and the third. They're found in the half-step diminished scale, which Jeff uses every now and then to represent Cinder. Of course, I go into an absurd amount of detail in these past videos, so check them out for my infinite wisdom. So is that what Alex did in the end? No. Alex doesn't complicate his life like I do. He just found a much cleaner way. He literally just took one thing and Cinder's signature leitmotif. What? It was that easy? Yes, and this is clever both from Jeff and Alex. In the Volume 6 soundtrack, Jeff wrote one thing in a way that is actually compatible with Cinder's leitmotif, which actually makes sense in context, since it expressed Neo's spite towards Cinder. Volume 7, Chapter 9 has the best and clearest example of this match. Alex scores a melody that goes through the verse of one thing, except that on the 4th chord it's replaced by Cinder's theme, which works because the melody on that chord and Cinder's theme both start and end with the same notes. It's time to die, black out the sky. Are you kidding me? This shit rhymes. This shit rhymes. And not only that, but you know, you'd think like Jeff just put like the Cinder chord in there, but that's not actually the Cinder chord. I have dirty fucking glasses. He put a different chord in there. He put another chord that has the triton of the key. I think it's just the dissonant chord. I don't remember. I'm having a hard time like writing out the sheet music for one thing because of how the guitar plays the chords. The Cinder chord also uses the triton, and that's what makes them really compatible because, you know, the tones are almost the same. Right, if the root is bow, this is supposed to be an A, I think, bow. Then you play the 5th, hits, then an octave, time, then a 5th, 2, and then a flat 5th, which is the triton that I've been talking about. It's time to die, and that's where the new chord comes in, whereas Cinder's melody, it starts from the 5th, black, but then it goes up to the 2nd, out, before going to the octave. The black out the sky, and then it skips the fifth, goes straight down to the flat fifth, which is the tritone. No, 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 no. And that's why this tritone is so cool, because it should sound dissonant, but there's a different chord that makes it sound nice. And it just, that's what makes Cinder theme cool. It's also amazing how Alex times these musical identities. We start with one thing, which is Neo's newest vengeful demeanor. Then we switch angles and Cinder's presence is synchronized with her own theme. Neo changes into her signature color palette, her true colors. Thus Alex brings us back to her roots. Her first leitmotif. I'm Joshburger. I have a rich playlist of RWBY music theory, which you're curious about, by the way, I can tell. And I have a single on Bandcamp. If you like this shit, check out everything I have to offer. Pick something you like.